Sure. I'll talk it out.
Yeah, let's just have a conversation.
Track 3.
Better not be fucking Dave Matthews Band.
Okay. Those of you who don't want to be a part of this can leave now.
Derek, please listen to me.
But if you choose to stay, which it seems like you guys are choosing...
Derek, please.
You understand and agree to the following terms and conditions.
Derek!
1.
Derek, this is the virus.
You hereby waive your right
Derek, please.
to your own personal bodily integrity.
This is not you.
2. Per the State versus Neville Reed, my colleague and I will not be held criminally liable for any felony or misdemeanor that you may be a victim of, including, but not limited to, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, disorderly conduct, destruction of property, mayhem, and first-degree murder. And 3, terms and conditions may change or be updated whenever the fuck I want! Consider yourselves notified.
What up, everyone? DJ Noob is here with you, and When I Raid Alone, episode 3. Wasn't really planning on doing this video, but I don't know. I saw a video recently that I thought, well, you know what? I feel like I want to talk about this a little bit. It's going to be a little controversial, but I got to get some things out of the way before we get started. So, one, these are just my opinions. Okay, I'm not a professional gamer. I don't game for a living on stream. Obviously, I love talking about some games, especially ones that I'm interested in and like. I do like the gamer personalities that I watch. I have no problem with any of them, really, even if I think they might be a little over the top. But then again, everyone's their own character, their own personality, which is what I appreciate. So I'm not bashing this particular guy that I'm going to be reviewing his little video he did. I will be disagreeing with him a few things, but I also have some other stuff I want to talk about with this. And then later on, I'm going to do a reaction to Asmon's video. I guess Blizzard's boss like called him out or something. So we're going to take a look at that and kind of just chirp in a little bit with that. But the biggest thing right now I want to talk about is Path of Exile versus Diablo 4. It seems to be a big issue going the last couple months. We all know the problems that Diablo 4 has. I've been very vocal about my issues with it. Level scaling is a bitch. I did the XP weekend just because I wanted to try to get my Druid and Barbarian up to 70. It was still a grind. I still just only got my Druid to 70. I'm not even feeling it right now with the Barbarian. I went back and played my Sorceress, which is a 73, and I was wiping the floor with a lot of shit. So, like, I don't know, like the build, even though I'm building, following people's builds and kind of tweak them to my own liking, with good regeneration and whatnot, I'm still having issues. Like, dude, it's just such a grind, like, to get the XP. Like, I don't know what they're fucking thinking over there, but 25% didn't do much of anything. It really needs to be like 100% XP if you want to like do a weekend. 100%, 100%, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Then there's Path of Exile, right? So people started playing it. You know, it got brought up. This is a game that's 10 years old. It's free. It wasn't, you didn't have to pay for it, although there are some caveats to that. But all of a sudden, these streamers that I watch started playing Path of Exile, and they were talking it up, really enjoying it. I've been giving it a whirl. I will say from the get-go here that I'm about 10 or 11 level in my Path of Exile character, which is a witch. I've lost interest, which is something that Darth microtransaction DM had mentioned that could happen to casual players, as I am a casual player for many reasons. I have a day job. I got a wife, so I got to spend time with her, even though she does some of this shit with me. You know, as far as my own YouTube channel, it's not just gaming that I talk about. I talk about music mainly. Music, and our website is mainly about music. But I also talk movies and other forms of entertainment, and sometimes social and political issues if we're up to it. But I did start this gaming segment not too long ago because, yeah, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy watching some of these streamers, and I enjoy some of the games that they play that I play myself. But I'm not by any means a diehard gamer. I'm the very definition of a casual player. Like, I will play, like, one thing that I had a problem with early on was Diablo 4 came out. They said you had 14 days to get a refund. Well, the problem is when you play a game like Diablo 4, even if you think it's simplistic, is I maybe could dedicate 7 hours tops a week to play the game. And that's 14 and 14 days, which isn't enough to really get a full grasp of this game, especially with the grinding being so slow to get there. So lo and behold, I got stuck with the game. I can't get a refund. I made a comment on someone's other YouTube video a while back saying, you know, if Blizzard wanted to refund me my money like right this minute, I would gladly erase the game from my hard drive and get my money back until it was ready to be released, because we all know it's not a finished product. It's still a product in work. Basically forcing all of us who bought the game to be their game testers. But the problem is, usually when you have game testers, I've actually done game testing for a living. It's been a while, but I've done it. Usually when you do that, your developers are supposed to listen to your points that you're making, the issues that you're pointing out. They're supposed to be listening. Now, in some regards, the devs have done that, but not enough to really say they're doing a lot with it. Like, some of the stuff they say they want to do is going to take a couple of years. Like, that makes no sense. It's coding, so you should be able to go right in there and adjust that shit. Anyway, I'm not a developer, so, but I haven't seen what's been done with other games. I just can't imagine it's something that's going to be that they have to fight tooth and nail for. So Path of Exile comes in. A lot of these streamers I respect that I watch, Asmon, Hog, DM, etc., Chosen. So I respect their opinions on the game. Started playing it. I already saw some problems with it off the bat for me. Now, granted, I have ADHD, right? So if I go off on tangents, forgive me, but that's just kind of how I am. Sometimes I'll get lost in thought, start finding another thing to focus on, and come back. But I found some problems with Path of Exile. And so one is it still feels a little slow in terms of leveling. And I don't know, like, one thing I noticed right off the bat too was if you're trying to build up gold or resources in this game, so materials, so you trade in materials you pick up that you're not using for like gear and stuff for materials that helps out later. And the tab, there's not a lot of tab space. Like literally I can get like 6 or 7 items if they're large enough and they'll take up the whole damn bag. So all the whining and bemoaning and the snowflakes crying about the tabs in Diablo 4, dude, Path of Exile is worse. Worse. The only way to rectify that I've read is to pay $60 and you can get like almost unlimited space. You might as well have bought the fucking game for that, right? They still charge for cosmetics if you want those, which to me, cosmetics are cool. So when I played Season 1 of Diablo 4, never made it past 50. 1 to 50 is a great leveling experience. You just blast right through it, right? That's the way it should be. But the cosmetics you can pick up along the way is pretty cool. Now, it was kind of boring. I finished it within a weekend, I think, when I did Season 1, when I had extra time. But after that, like, luckily I canceled and deleted that character because I just had no interest. I already had a level 70 necromancer, so I had done another necro. And I knew I wasn't going to carry it over into the other season. It just made no sense because you only have 10 spots that you can use anyway, right? So even depending on, I think if I go into Season 2 I'm going to go with a sorcerer again because I really like the build that I have, and I probably will follow that blueprint on my way up to Season 2, which I'll probably never hit 100. Like the way things are now, I don't even go to tier 4 because even though that's where ancestrals are, it's just a fucking bitch, dude. The creatures are too damn hard at times. I suppose I could go into tier 4 with my sorcerer and then just kind of do some of the little sellers or whatever and see if I can get any ancestrals that way to kind of build up my power more. But the leveling is still such a grind that, like, because Paragon board, I like the Paragon board of Diablo 4, I really do. It's just that getting to a point where you can actually maximize that means you have to really hit 100, and it's a bitch. Now, speaking of Paragon boards, we talk about the skill trees, right? So for Path of Exile, it's massive. It's a massive skill tree. Something that a lot of streamers are saying, oh man, this is awesome. This blows away Diablo 4. You know, the funny thing is, and again, you can flame me in the comments. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't take anything seriously. You guys will have your opinions. I'll have mine. The Diablo 4 skill tree is fine. It is. I think people whine about it a little bit, babies about it a little bit. The skill tree is fine. The problem is that the way that Blizzard has it right now is that you can only certain builds are going to get you a certain point. And they talk about this, even these diehard streamers all the time, that, oh, I used this skill tree to this point, but then if I wanted to go in game, I had to switch it up to this. You shouldn't really have to do that. If you like a particular skill tree, for me, it's like pure ice, right? So I want to use that all the way through. I enjoy that fucking skill and that build. So I don't want to have to go forcefully to go do a different build to try to get to 100. That's just stupid. But the other part of that is that people want to be able to dabble and play with other builds to do the same thing. You still want to be able to get to end game. So if you wanted to be a werebear druid and you wanted to just focus on those skill sets to get to the end game, you should be able to get there. If you wanted to be a werewolf, you should be able to do that as well. And that's the thing. Like right now, like with my druid, I have to kind of mix match with the werewolf and werebear because, you know, one does something that the other doesn't. And I haven't really looked at them, but I've seen people do like total werewolf builds. But I don't know. Part of the problem that I run into with characters that I've had to kind of rectify is the essence and mana regeneration. Like that's one of the biggest problems, I think. And that's the problem that people point out a lot to in Diablo 4. Now, with Path of Exile, the skill tree is huge, but I've never seen a video from anyone yet. And if you all have an example of someone that does, please put it in the comments. But I've never seen anyone actually maximize that entire skill tree. No one. You know, this guy that I'm getting ready to watch that I'll show you in a minute. He talks about how he did his for his rogue, and he's not even using like 25% of the board. So why is that all going to waste? You know what I mean? You can get wowed by the possibilities of the skill tree and Path of Exile, but if you can't even maximize it in a big way, what's the fucking point? And I know people are like, well, man, you got to try it, man. You got to do it and just play with it. And this is where I come to this other shit that I wanted to share because it kind of annoyed me a little bit, but it's not to a point that I don't understand what this person's saying. I get it. But people are often forgetting the diehard gamers from the casual. This is the problem. So, this is off a Path of Exile forum. There was a guy that made an original post saying that he didn't want to play it anymore. Had a bunch of different reasons. Here's one quote I'll read off to you. Path of Exile is not a game one masters simply by playing the game. I assume this is what people are doing when they identify themselves as casuals. It's evident if you've been playing for years, but still don't understand why Gear A is better than Gear B for a given build because you have no idea what is scaling the damage and why. So then we got this guy, and I don't want to read the entire thing, but you know, he's basically kind of blasting this, saying people shouldn't go into Path of Exile expecting to have fun or like, you know, his idea is like, I just want to be able to go in and like play around, die, have bad builds, come back. But I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want to waste a lot of time doing that myself. It just makes no sense for me to do that. Like, I don't have enough time to sit there and like build and rebuild. So when I go and I look up builds, there's a reason for it. I did the same thing with Diablo 4. And Diablo 4 is a little bit more simplified. I think we all agree with that, right? So the only thing with Diablo 4 is like you get a lot of those stats on those pieces of items, and we really don't know what they all mean. We know that the resistances are still not fixed. That's like still a clusterfuck. I still play, when I go in to play Diablo 4, I still deal with that stupid nonsense of like shit fucking me over, even though I have no way to really combat it. But you know, this guy's basically kind of like shooting down the idea that people should be looking at builds. Like, he makes one comment in here that I thought was funny. He says, yeah, so this game existed long before any of those third-party tools were invented and people did just fine. But the reality is, no, they did not do just fine. Maybe the players did that were playing it 10 years ago. But I guarantee you, from what I've observed, right? What I've observed is that most of the streamers out there right now, after D4 got released are now just getting into Path of Exile. Maybe Asmon's the exception. I think he played it a while back. But a lot of guys that I follow are just now getting into Path of Exile, so they didn't even fucking know about it. So if it's such a great game, why is it fucking no one knew about it? That's sort of my problem with this. Like, I don't mind that people enjoy it. I'm gonna get back to it. I have to look at it long term, just like this guy's talking about. But I can honestly say I have no desire to go into it right now because I am looking for the quick fix. I'm looking for the quick adrenaline rush. I'm looking for something that I can piece together simply and say, oh, okay, this piece of gear is better. I'm going to use this. But I don't want to have to fucking play guessing games. I don't want a fucking math problem when I'm playing the fucking game. And that's a problem that I have with this. So then he gets down to here and he says, I hate it so much when I watch a streamer tell the audience that the new player should find a build they like and follow a guide. Or read posts when players say they got their friend to start playing and they tell them you have to watch this video or read this guide or do this build. No. Just enjoy the goddamn game and learn by doing. Okay. That's simple to say for someone who does this. Like, if you can dedicate 40 hours a week to gaming, sure, man. And I guarantee this guy is one of those people because there's no fucking way he's going to spend 5 hours a week doing that. Maybe he did for 10 years, but if it is, I don't know, he's an idiot or just bored off his ass. I don't know. I don't want to go into a game that I have to sit there and overthink. And that's what's happening with this. And Darth Microtransactions said the same fucking thing. He said something that stuck in my head. He says, for casual people or new gamers, it's a slow start. And if you aren't engaged at that point, you probably won't get back to it. And he's right. It's too slow in terms of starting Path of Exile. It's just too slow. And there's a lot of stuff that's not explained. Like, you know, you have to kind of figure it out. But dude, like, I don't want, again, no math. I don't want to have to fucking sit there and decipher an entire game. It makes no sense to me. I want to get in, pew, 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 pew. That's what I want to do. And so whether that makes me a bad gamer, I don't care. I like what I like. I'm not saying Diablo 4 is better than this game overall. I'm just saying that it's not as good as people are making it out to be. I think there's a lot of problems with Path of Exile. And even at some of the shit like the tabs, like if you're avoiding talking about that and you're just trying to like pump up PoE without explaining that part of it, then you're a bad streamer because you need to talk about that shit. And as far as this guy, like, yeah, okay, it's the only game I want to play, but no, I don't. I don't want to play just this game. So Diablo 4, I can play an hour or two, even at its state right now, and get offline and go do some other things. And I still feel like I might have accomplished something. Now I didn't accomplish anything right now. I'm pretty much maxed with my players in terms of how much I want to tolerate the grind. So now I am waiting for season 2 to see what happens. Could suck ass. The only thing I can pray for is that the devs for Blizzard get off their ass, get some more shit fixed, readjust some things, because if you're already, which this guy in this video is going to show us soon, if you're already like putting your game on sale and it's only been out for like 3 or 4 months and you're already doing an XP weekend to try to keep people engaged, that should fucking tell you something. It should tell you something. All right. So I've got this guy here. He is, what is his name? Tonky Gaming. Never heard of him before. Don't know anything about him really. This is the first video I've seen from him. So we're going to give it a whirl, and I'm going to go through his video and I'm going to probably pause it a few times to just explain why I might disagree with him on some things.
Path of Exiles is better. Well, what do you think about that? Dude, the game isn't even a year old and they're already putting it on sale. And also, they are making it so there's an XP weekend. Now, granted, for new players, okay. For seasoned players, dude, really? All right. But, you know, that aside, what about this? So, dude, you cannot tell me that Path of Exiles is not benefiting from Diablo 4 going down. But you know what? If you don't believe me, then let's dive into some more reasons. All right, let's go. All right, so we're here checking out the Barbarian. As you can see, the graphics look good. You see a lot of floating numbers. You see things just going crazy, and I mean, there's a lot of possibility to make, you know, where this looks really, really fantastic. But the thing is, where Diablo goes bad is there's not much to the skills. Like the Barbarian's best skill.
Yeah, but as I was watching this before, where Diablo can fix this, the Blizzard can fix this, is to simply say, let's add like chain lightning to whirlwind in some way, or, you know, basically if he's doing whirlwind, maybe add like a mist to poison or something. Like there's ways to correct this that you don't have to add 50 fucking buttons. And I want to say this real quick because it just came to mind. But one thing I've seen Asmon and other people say is like, man, you need more than just 4 buttons. No, fuck, you don't. You don't need more than 4 buttons. You don't. Why in Path of Exile do I need 5 buttons for fucking potions? Why? Don't need it. 1 is enough. 1 button. As far as like the battle system, yeah, okay, great. 4 would do fine. 5, okay. But you don't need 20. You don't. That's where combos come in. Combos work into your main buttons. That's how it should work. Path of Exile keeps adding buttons and buttons and buttons, and then you got to take out this and put in more buttons and have this and that. No, you don't need that. You don't need all that shit. I know. I'm simple. I'm simple-minded, but dude, you don't need 20 fucking buttons to play a fucking game, dude. Jesus Christ.
Is literally whirlwind. All you do is you press 4 buttons, you go into your buffs, and then you just hold your whirlwind down. That is literally all that you do.
That's so, all you need.
How is that any kind of fun longevity? Look, you just go into your skills.
It's fun as long as you're killing shit.
That's all. That's all. I mean, yeah, granted, things explode. You see a lot of dopamine hits with this, but I mean, it's longevity wise. Is that really fun? I mean, come on.
It's fun, dude. It is. But the caveat is that Diablo's problem is that it doesn't have other content. So when we talk about Path of Exile, where they get it right, different maps, different bosses. And these are funny enough. Like the devs from Blizzard are like, yeah, we're going to add a couple of bosses in season 2. Like, you fucking think you would have thought this ahead of time. You only had 10 years to get it together, right? So it's a fun system, dude. Like, I don't care if you don't think it's fun. Why the fuck you even playing it if you don't think it's fun? It's fun. It's just that you got to have more with it. And so this is why I say you don't need more buttons, dude. You don't. You don't need more buttons. You just need more combos with it. You need to be able to attach combos to it. That's what you need.
Add more skills, do something, help us. And you know what, the music as well, because I'm really big into the music of the game. It's generic. Listen to it. That's all that we got. Now let's dive into Path of Exiles and see exactly why Path of Exiles music quality, everything just blows you away. Let's go. Oh shit, hold on. What is this? We got another. Oh damn, dude. Hold on, guys. Stay with me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, 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 oh my gosh. Hold on.
Dude, why are you running, dude? Like, just stay still. You should be able to kill that shit and wipe the floor with it, right? Because Path of Exile is so much better. You should be able to kill that shit right out the bat, dude. You're so strong. And musically, who gives a fuck, really? Because I play my own music. I play heavy metal and rock when I play. I don't know about you guys, but fuck, I don't care about the fucking in-game music. Who gives a shit about that?
What is happening? Ah, dang it. Whoa.
Dude, if that's the in-game music there, that sucks ass. I'm sorry. That music sucks. That right there sucks.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Terrible. Why the fuck would you want to listen to that? It doesn't, you know, the funny thing is, it doesn't even fucking match what's going on in the game. So if you have this, like, this is all kind of based on fantasy and horror. Why the fuck are you playing like techno poppy bullshit? That, no, dude.
Go, 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 go. Oh, shit, man. So, what'd you think? I mean, yes, the graphics on Diablo 4 do seem a lot better because it is a little bit more up to date, but Path of Exile is really competing with a game that is brand new compared to a game that is 10 plus years old. In my opinion, the graphics on Path of Exile grabs my attention more. There's more flashy colors, and it really gives you that dopamine hit. So,
flashy colors. So the sparklies is what gets you going. Sparklies. That's what you want. Okay.
now we want to dive into some skills. How does Diablo 4 do? How does Path of Exiles do? Let's find out. So, as you can see, Diablo 4 really has not much here. You got 1 basic skill, 2 core skills, 3 defensive, 4 brawling, 5 weapons, 6 ultimate, and 7 key passives. There's really not a whole lot of flexibility here. Yeah, you got a little bit. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 basic skills that help do damage, but you can't go outside of that. The core skills, there's only 5 there. So there's only so many paths that you can go down with each class. That's not a lot. That's not a lot, guys.
You don't need a lot, dude. I just explained this. Like, you don't really need a lot. What you need is a way to combo shit. So let's say you have your basic, for instance, like Frostbolt is for the sorceress. So yeah, Frostbolt. Let's say you want to combo that into a blizzard or a frozen orb, kind of like the enchantments, only more expansive. But you don't need to have like 50 buttons to push. It's just dumb. You don't need that. I play on PC. I don't know if people play this on their, consoles or whatever, but I can't explain how that works. I don't use it on the console, but I don't want to be like, you ever see like Jim Carrey on when he plays God and he's like doing the typing like 50 miles an hour. Like, I don't want to be doing that. I understand we want to have more out of Diablo 4. We don't need to have something that's so fucking complex that nobody really understands what the fuck is going on. And I don't want to spend time doing 20 fucking builds to find the one that I like right. Even though I still kind of did that with Diablo 4, only because I'd watch a streamer, create a build, do it, and then the fucking day later, the streamer would change to another build. So this is even better than that one. And I'm like, come on, man. Stick with the plan here. But content is content, right? That's how it goes.
Now, so you say, Tonky, all right, well, what does Path of Exile have? That's a funny question. Let me show you. All right, so the real question is, what can't you do in Path of Exile. This is just scratching the surface. I'm just giving you guys a bare minimum look here. This is just in the first act. Okay, there's all of these skills. The green are mostly like range skills, archer skills. The red is like strength, melee, and blue is like magic.
Now, see, this is where I would love Diablo 4 to go. This is one thing that I like about Path of Exile with their gems. You notice as he's scrolling over them, they've got like a multitude of stats and stuff that they do. Our gems only give you like a couple of stats at best, and it varies from whatever piece of gear you put it on. That's not very imaginative or creative. So Blizzard, you really missed a boat on that. And if you wanted, because like the thing about this is where I like this a little bit. You can add combos to your gear through Path of Exile. So the gems you put in there can do a lot of different things. He'll explain some of that. I kind of been with my witch, I've been using greens and blues. But again, they all can kind of do different things depending on where they are.
Skills. You have individual skills, and then on top of that, you have support skills that support those individual skills. So you can literally
Now, keep in mind, though, dude, if you see what's going on here, right? This is still very complicated to try to follow. So you're spending a lot of time reading through all this shit, finding out what it does. And the funny thing is, and it's not, I don't know about him because I don't know if he's done any videos on Diablo 4 prior to this, but a lot of the streamers I watch were complaining about having to read all the stats and what they do. Well, this is far more than what Diablo 4 puts in their information. Like a lot of this, like Diablo 4 is only like maybe here, right where this gray is. If you see like where my cursor is, the gray. That's about what you get with our pieces of gear in Diablo 4. All this is extra. So I don't know how you can complain about Diablo when this is far more shit to have to sift through to figure out what the fuck it does.
Combo things however you want to combo them. You can, if you have this weapon, so like right here I have frenzy, or no, you know what, let's go here, let's go to lightning arrow. Lightning arrow is my main attack, right? You have lightning arrow, we have 2 green, 1 blue. We have lightning arrow as our main attack. We have Mirage Archer as supporting the lightning arrow. Then you have lesser multiple projectile support, which is buffing the lightning arrow. And then on top of that, we have Wrath that's buffing lightning arrow. So you can literally do this for every piece of gear that you have. You can combo any direction that you want. If you want to have a range skill with more melee damage for some reason, you can do it. If you want to make the ranged attack go in all different directions and have different projectiles and shoot over here and shoot over there and do more damage, or do cold damage, or do fire damage, or do lightning.
That's one thing I will say that I don't like about Diablo, but this is also because I played Diablo 1 way back in the day. I don't think I ever played Diablo 2. I may have, I just don't remember it. I played D3, but I didn't get into D3 until about 2017. So by then it kind of worked out a lot of the kinks they had in it. Like I wish there was like an auto target in a way, because like trying to shoot things sometimes in the game at D4 is a pain in the ass. So having an item that can like pretty much like, unless it's like Frozen Orb or Blizzard or whatever, that can do different areas on the screen. Because even with Necromancer, man, if you want to use Corpse Explosion, you gotta fucking like put your cursor on the fucking corpse and let it go. It doesn't just do it. So some of that shit to me is kind of tedious and annoying. I mean, I can live with it, but this where I've watched some guys who are playing this game and girls who are playing this game, and they're pretty far up towards the end game, and they're doing all this crazy shit around them, right? The pretty lights he's talking about. that is a nice thing to have. If you can hit a button and like you can hit shit from behind you without having to turn around and actually aim at it, that's a good thing, right? So that's a good positive for Path of Exile, is that it's able to do a multitude of attacks to kind of watch your back from whatever shit's coming at you.
Damage. You can do that. You can literally do anything that you want. You can combo the game any way that you want. You can be a warrior and have a bow. You can be a mage and have a bow. You can use anything. You can literally do anything that you want in this game. Yeah, there's certain builds that are better. Yeah, there's certain items that are better for certain classes, like the ranger. If you go to the passive skill tree, yes,
I actually have read that some of the items that people talk about that drop are kind of rare. Like I know DM finally got something that was pretty rare and he was pretty happy about it. But as far as like the drops, like I don't think they drop as much or as more frequent as the shit in Diablo 4. I could be wrong. You guys can correct me on that. I just have not gotten that far in the game. So, but let's look at his skill tree here. So this is what he has, right? This is for his rogue. And it's cute and all, you know? But there isn't like a shit ton of stuff that he's got going on here. And even though he explains that if you wanted to branch out into other shit, so let's say you want to take your rogue and somehow make it magical, you can branch off into the fucking witch or mage or into a melee. But that kind of defeats the fucking purpose of what a rogue is. Just like if I'm going to play a sorcerer, why the fuck am I going to carry a hammer? It makes no fucking sense. So he's only using like a quarter of this board. So for all this bullshit that's out here, dude, you don't do anything with it. Now, I would be more impressed with this game if he could take his build here and all this was rogue related. All of it. All of it was rogue related, and it just gave you more power, more shit, right? That would make sense. But it's not, and he's not even using, like, they all talk about how great this board is, but you can't use 75% of it, dude. Like, what is so great about a board that is so complicated that you can't even use half of it anyway?
Ranger skills are closer to the ranger, so that makes more sense to go ranger here. But if you really wanted to, you could play another class and find yourself down to the bow skills. You could play the mage and you can go to bow skills. Like I said,
why there's no why a mage does not fucking use a bow. Why? I'm sorry, I'm going to take my barbarian. He's going to be a mage.
You just won't be as top tier, but you can do it. But this is just the passive skill tree, just so you guys know. I found this out recently. This is just passives. All right, this isn't even counting the maps. You can literally do anything that you want in this game. And then your potions on top of it can get buffed. They can do different things other than Diablo 4, where you can literally only get healed. And on top of it, you have mana. So you have to pay attention to mana. You have to pay attention to health. And then you can get these other flasks that can give you movement speed or give you buffs. You literally...
And give you more buttons to push. Woo!
It is your playground, and you can do anything that you want. Tell me different. This game is 10 out of 10. So going forward, I will be playing Path of Exile.
Notice now, we are in 2023. This guy himself is just now playing Path of Exile. That's how great this game was, folks. 90% of your streamers out there are just now getting into this game. Why? Why? If this game was so fucking great and all these like diehards have been playing it since the beginning, why are only these streamers hearing about it now? I find that fucking hilarious. And I'm not begrudging him or anyone else playing the game. But if it was such a great game, as everyone kept saying, they would have been playing it years ago, right? Just saying.
At least until Diablo 4 Season 2 comes out.
Well, wait a minute. Homie, you just said this game's better than that game. Why the fuck would you go back to Diablo 4? And I'm not saying he can't. He probably already paid for it like I did. It's the reason why I still play, because I don't waste $80 on a game that I'm not going to play in some form or fashion. So even if I max out my characters at 70, I've at least done something with the game. Not begrudging this guy at all. It just struck me funny that he did this at the end where he's going to play Diablo 4 Season 2. I'm like, why? You don't like it? You don't like the simple skills? You don't like the tree? I don't know. I know I'm poking fun at him, I shouldn't, but let's continue.
I really do feel like Diablo could be good, but the thing is that they have to prove it to me first. If you agree with me, leave this video a like, leave a comment, tell me, explain to me how you feel about this topic. I know that it is very controversial and there's a lot around the whole thing. So I know some people are deep nostalgia with Diablo 4. And I totally get that. That's totally your prerogative there. But I know that there are people that are totally deep into Path of Exile. I'm just comparing which one that I feel has better quality, and Path of Exile, in my opinion, wins that by a mile. At least as of right now. Diablo 4 Season 2 might have a ton of extra things to do in game. It might change my mind. But until...
And that's the key for me. I think that's the biggest detriment. When I watch Asmon, Hog, DM, whoever, they those guys all got to like level 100, right? I'm not sure if Hog did. He might have bailed out before then, but the guys like DM and Asmon that get to 100, like once they get there, they got bored. There's nothing else they can do. And so that's Blizzard's fault because there's nothing else to achieve at that point. And I agree with this guy here that, you know, one of the detriments of Diablo 4, aside from some of the other shit that's out there, is that there's just not enough to do in the game. And really, you know, it's funny because I still go out there occasionally fighting the world boss, but there's only like 3 of them that you can fight. So at that point, it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, okay, I already beat them. Why don't we have some new ones I can beat? The other thing I wish Diablo 4 would do is basically, I wish they would come back and allow you to go back and replay the campaign. So my fault was basically going out there and skipping the campaign with my other alt characters. So my necromancer, I played the campaign through. My sorcerer and everyone else I skipped through. And even though that's fine, I probably would have got more enjoyment by going through the campaign again, because the campaign was really good. Like you talk to a lot of streamers, they'll agree the storyline of Diablo 4 is great. But once you get beyond that, and the other thing is, for those that never watched my past videos talking about Diablo 4, is that the thing that I don't like, and we talk about the level scaling here, is that I'm the kind of person that I can get enjoyment playing on tier 1. But the problem with that is, in Diablo 4, is you can't set the skill. So like D3, you could go in and play easy, normal, average, hard, and extreme, and etc. So if you went and beat the entire game on easy level, right, and you wanted to step up your challenge, you could do that. You could just keep going up the ladder and then get better drops, etc., more gold, all that bullshit. D4 doesn't give you that option. Like, I don't know why they did it this way. It doesn't make sense. It's terrible. So even if I wanted to go back with my characters down to tier 1 and like obliterate everything at 73, right? I don't get any drops that matter. And XP is worse. So it's like, and now, like, like I said, I don't want to go to tier 4 because I don't want to die every 5 seconds. Like, that's not fun to me. I don't want to bang my head against a brick wall trying to beat shit. Like, one thing that Asmon always stated was nobody wants to play a game stressed. It's dumb. Why do you want to do that? Going back to that guy with the forum comment, you know, he's like, yeah, man, you gotta live and learn and die. Like, who the fuck wants to do that? Maybe you get a kick out of dying every 5 minutes. I don't care about that shit. So I pick a level that works for me. But I had no choice but to go to tier 3. Right? Because in order to get sacreds, that's what you have to do. Or uniques. You can't get them anywhere else. And if I want to push my game further, eventually I'm going to have to go to tier 4. But I just don't have the motivation to do it because the grind is a bitch and the balancing of everything is not working either. Because I would like to take my other characters to 100. But right now, the only ones that would really succeed in any capacity with my builds is the Necromancer and Sorcerer. I might be able to get there with my Rogue. My Rogue is pretty fucking bitching, you know, like, you know, I had fun with her with the flurry attacks and stuff. So, but dude, like I tried, I think I beat Elias with my Necromancer, but I had to take a friend of mine and join in to beat Elias with my Sorcerer because that dude's a bitch. And then, of course, Asmon's like, he's easy, man. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Not for me, brother. Not for me. So yeah, there's just some things there, and like, guys, you need to check out this dude. I know I was disagreeing with him a lot and kind of poking at him a little bit, but you know, he is who he is. His name's Tonky Gaming. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna subscribe to his channel. You guys should too. He seems like a pretty good dude. Likes playing games, talks how he feels about it, and that's fine. Like, I have no problems with that. So go give this dude a like, man, and check him out. I'll probably be checking out some of his other material. But I kind of get to the point with the Path of Exile, people are kind of overblowing that game a little bit, especially for us casuals who don't want to sit there with the mathematics going around our head trying to like decipher, what do I do? Oh, wait, he says I should just live and learn, but then they got these builds and, you know, I don't know, like, who wants to do that, dude? Like, if I get back to Path of Exile, which I probably will, it's a free game, it ain't going nowhere. I'm not paying for tabs. I'm not doing it. That's fucking stupid. Stupid, dude. Stupid. All the bitching about Blizzard. That's stupid to pay $60 for tabs. Fuck you guys at Path of Exile for that. If I get back to Path of Exile, I know it's a long game. It may take me 10 years just to finish that game, but I'll probably finish it. You know, it's just, that's the kind of game it is. Like, I didn't really go into it thinking I was going to have to be a rocket scientist to do it. But, yeah, so if you guys haven't checked out other gamers, Hog Gaming, Hog is very cool. We did an interview with him. So cool of a guy. Love his shit. Asmon Gold probably doesn't need no introduction. You either love or hate him. DM Darth Microtransaction. He's kind of new on the scene, but he's really good, really smart, good gamer. Other gamers I like is Quinn. I give him a hard time too because he was kind of Blizzard simping for a while, but he's very entertaining. He's fun as shit to watch. And then Chosen as well. He's very edgy. There's some other ones out there that I aren't mentioning right now, but off the top of my head, those guys are really good. So check them out. These guys do this shit for a living. I don't. Like I said, I'm just a casual gamer, just giving my opinions, spitting out hot takes, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, check those guys out. Now we're going to go and we are going to see what Asmon has to say about Blizzard's presidents called me out. Here's my response. So let's see what's going on with Mr. Asmongold.
Blizzard called me out. Now, Max, why do you guys, of course, know Limit Maximum was watching my video of Venruki. And Quick, who is the president of Blizzard, called me out. Hopefully you guys can understand what's happening here. I'll make it a little bit easier to understand. There we go. And we're going to play it. Here we go. You ready? Bro, people are going to love that.
He has to have a take. Oh my God. Quick, the president of Blizzard in chat. The problem is he can't do mythic or heroic successfully. Oh my God. I mean, kind of true. I've only seen him do like normal raids when it comes out, and then he just like stops playing. When I hear Asmon talk a lot about retail, there's a few talking points he has where it feels like he just said them at one point, and his extremely doomer audience is going to true everything he says. And if you just have 50,000 people true you too many times, you just start really, really being confident in your bad takes about a game that you barely play. And that's what this sounds like. I mean, Quick said it the dirty way, but yeah, I mean, I need to hear the actual take.
Is that it? Because I want to make sure that I don't just like go off half cocked. Is that it? Okay, all right. Watch the I cannot watch the whole thing. It's gonna take forever. That's it. Okay, let's begin.
Come on, Asmon, get your big dick on. Let's go. You know you want to do it.
I think that if you don't play the game at all, you do become out of touch. However, I think that if you play it all the time, you also become out of touch. And the truth is that if your job is playing the game, you will never understand an average player because they don't play the game as a job. And that's okay. That just makes sense. I think he's right. I don't understand the average player any better than anybody else does. I'm just putting my opinion out there. But the numbers, the data of how many people are clearing these raids is low. It's not like, I mean, how many?
It's not just that though. Like when recently I saw Asmon and someone else saying how Dragonflight was like there wasn't much going on, like it was dying. They weren't lying, dude. I went on last night to see what was going on because I played Dragonflight for a few months. You know, I got my character leveled up. I did some stuff. I never, if people are new to me, I never actually go on much raids or do much dungeon runs. Occasionally would do dungeon runs, but not much until I've passed that expansion. So that's why I kind of made my wife actually came up with the joke. When I raid alone. And that's basically a true thing with me. Like I will go back in World of Warcraft to older expansions and just run them myself, get the achievements, pick up cosmetic gear along the way, and that's it. It's not really a thing of like I don't have like any proud moments that I need to achieve by going and beating a raid. Asmon, he will do that with World of Warcraft expansions. That's what he wants to do. Get in there, beat the raid, say he did it, whatever. Or if he can't because of shit that goes on within the raid party that he has to like, you know, forget it, you know, or whatever. But the game itself, like I went on there just wasn't much activity. Like there isn't much activity there. It also depends on the server you're on. I am on a low pop server to start with, but you know when it's low pop and then there's like almost no one. But now I noticed they have this like new patch they put in there, and I haven't even really played with it, and I don't even know what the fuck it all does. I just haven't really been motivated to go back to World of Warcraft at all. I'm still kind of pissed off that Final Fantasy 16 won't be coming until December for the PC, even though I would get it for a console, but since it's not an Xbox One, that's a problem. Then I also have to fight with Mortal Kombat 1, which isn't going to be on Xbox One. So somewhere along the line between now and December, I'm going to just say to my in-laws, you know, I want a fucking PS5. Like it's been a couple of years. You got some for my nephews and nieces. How about you do it for me? That's what I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to do. Just have them get it for me. I don't want anything else. Just want that PS5. Yeah. So, I mean, look, any streamer that's out there has their own hot takes and opinions, and I do value Asmon's a lot because he's smart. He knows what he's talking about. He's played the game. He's been in the WoW forever. So it's not like he's talking out his ass. He's just giving his opinion. Now, I find it funny that a Blizzard guy is trying to call him out. Like, dude, you guys have your own fucking problems. You can't sit here and start pushing back on the streamers when you're the ones shitting the bed. It's just the reality of the situation here. Just because you sold a bunch of fucking Diablo 4 to a bunch of people doesn't mean you were a success. You just duped everybody into buying a game that wasn't even fucking finished. So you can lick my nuts and pretend that you are all great and you did all nothing wrong. Just let's cut through the bullshit, dude. Okay. Let's get back to Asmon.
I'm going to give a few different examples. Gavel, oh yeah, there were a few good things from Jailer, but like, there's not like tier sets, right? In the same way that there used to be, right? So, from Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm, there was like a dramatic difficulty increase. Like, I would say tier 11 was like twice as hard as ICC, especially with the 30% buff. Tier 11 was fucking brutal. And I remember back in my, I played on Kel'Thuzad back then. And how many of you guys all the time in Wrath of the Lich King, like original Wrath, saw GDKPs and pugs for ICC 25-man, 25-man heroic, 10-man heroic going all the time, constantly in trade chat? Yeah, I saw them constantly. I didn't, maybe you were on a small server, but on Kel'Thuzad was a pretty big server. And so there were a lot of people that were doing the raids. And whenever Cataclysm came out, all that stuff died. And all the people that I used to do GDKPs with and I used to raid with, all those people either quit the game or they just weren't, they had to like join like a super serious guild or they couldn't play. Kata was way too fucking hard. And it happened then. And I also don't think, and the subs went way down. And yes, obviously, I think a lot of that's because of like.
It's always interesting though when I watch Asmon discuss World of Warcraft stuff or games in general. So, you listen to people who play Diablo 4, right? I'm going back to Diablo 4 a little bit. They complain that killing Lilith and some of these other bosses was too easy. But then you listen to Asmon talk about World of Warcraft and how the raids and everything are too fucking hard. So I'm just trying to say to myself, well, which is it? Which one do you really want? Do you want it to be a challenge or do you not want it to be a challenge? Because that's the thing that confuses me sometimes with Asmon is that, he complains that something's too hard and wow, like he wants a whole World of Warcraft reset. And I'm like, fuck that. Do you know how fucking slow plogging the early versions of WoW was? I started in 2007, right before Burning Crusade. Well, right when Burning Crusade came out. And dude, even though I was new to the game and didn't know any better, by the time we were at where we are in Dragonflight, it's so much better in terms of movement and speed. I don't want to have to like take me an hour to get from one city to the next. Fuck that shit, dude. I know there's a lot of nostalgia with that shit, with the WoW Classic and the hardcore shit, and that's fine. Leave it at that. Go play that shit. If you're not into what's going on with the modern version of World of Warcraft, just stop playing, dude. Stop playing. He won't stop playing because he's addicted to it, like most of us. Like we're no matter, even Diablo 4, we're gluttons for punishment. We want it because we want these games to succeed. We want them to be better. Diablo 4, I'm going to keep playing, one, because I've fucking bought it and I can't get a refund anyway. But two, I want it to succeed. I want it to become what it can be. And that's why I'm not totally trashing it. That's why I'm not totally like abandoning it. I'm just not going to do it. Like people say, well, if you keep playing it, they're going to keep putting out shit. They might do that. They might. But let's be realistic here. Most of the people that were playing Diablo 4 have abandoned it already. So if they're not noticing that, they're just clueless. So for those that would give me a lot of grief about still playing Diablo 4, I say this. If I'm the last one playing, they have no choice but to make upgrades to that game. Now, granted, I've seen other people online, so I'm not the last one playing it. But the reality is, if you look at the charts that these streamers put up, it's not doing well. And they have to be paying attention to that. And from everything from my friend told me who played Diablo 3 from the beginning, it went through the same bullshit. The only thing that's confusing in all this is why they didn't learn their lessons from that one to this one. But World of Warcraft, they're trying different things. Like Shadowlands sucked. We know this. It has some decent things about it, but it just sucked overall. It was not very good. I lost interest in that probably quicker than any other expansion out there. Dragonflight's great. The only problem I have with Dragonflight is you can't take your dragons outside of the zone. Will that ever happen? Maybe. But I mean, I've gotten a lot of cool shit through Dragonflight and like new mounts and all this other stuff that's come with like the different things they're doing. So, I mean, as far as interest, it's been a lot better with Dragonflight than it ever was with Shadowlands. But the last thing I want is like this like hard reset that Asmon talks about, because you spend so much time investing into a game like World of Warcraft that I don't want to lose all that shit just because somebody doesn't like the way it is now. I'll just use his own logic against him. You don't like it, don't play it. Go do something else. And, you know, if Asmon never comes back to World of Warcraft, fine. But they have no reason to go back to the old Dark Ages and like fucking make it like a pixelated fucking character. You know, I'm overreacting here, but now it's fine. The fluidity of the characters is fine. The graphics are fine. Rating, again, it doesn't affect me as much as it does Asmon, because 2 expansions from now, I'm going to come back to Dragonflight and just going to run through it solo and beat them all anyway. So I'm not worried about it at all. You know, I don't have anything to prove. You know, with Asmon and other streamers, I get it. They have to get the content out as early as possible because people are going to go view that. So when you're playing a new game or you're getting these promos or the beta entries, you know, people are going to come watch you do this shit. They want to see what the game's about. Look what happened with Starfield. Like, I've watched some videos. That game, it takes you like 7 hours to go from one planet to the next. And like, I get the thinking behind that, but let's think of game time, dude. Like, you need like almost like warp speed to bypass a lot of that bullshit. So who the fuck wants to do that? I don't. That looks like the most boring fucking game on the planet. All right.
You know, like killing the Lich King, it's like the you know, it's like the logical ending of World of Warcraft, right? You beat the Lich King, the world is saved. Obviously, it's not the case. You understand the lore, but like from most of the people's perspective, like, yeah, sure. I think there's a lot of reasons for it, sure. And like Cataclysm didn't have as much hype as Wrath, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the point is that a lot of people quit the game after Cataclysm. And I think a big reason for that is because the raids just got too hard. The raids got way too hard, way too punishing. And if the raids also, and I don't really think this is a great argument, because I think people would have done this already, but I think that definitely the difficulty acted as a force multiplier. That's whenever add-ons started getting really crazy. That's whenever people started developing like all kinds of like different like fucking UIs and shit like that. That's whenever things got way more customized. And I think the reason for that is because that's whenever the raids got a lot harder. And so the players adapted by making better add-ons. But I also don't so the point is that I think that the player drop from Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm was in part because of the difficulty of the game. And I think at that point, the game became too difficult for average players. How do I know that? I have a personal experience. My mom played Wrath. By the time Cataclysm came out, she said, fuck that, I'm not going to raid anymore. It was too hard. Straight up, it's too hard. And so anyway, there's number one. Number one is that. In the same way that there used to be, right? So...
How cute. His mom played World of Warcraft with him. That's cute.
From Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm, there was like a dramatic difficulty increase. Like, I would say tier 11 was like twice as hard as ICC, especially with the 30% buff. Tier 11 was fucking brutal. And I remember back in my, I played on Kel'Thuzad back then. And how many of you guys all the time in Wrath of the Lich King, like original Wrath, saw GDKPs and pugs for ICC 25-man, 25-man heroic, 10-man, 10-man heroic going all the time, constantly in trade chat.
All right, we're gonna try to skip ahead a little bit here because I just want
Wrath,
to
et
see.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the point is, eyes and shit like that. That's where everything's got better add-ons. But I also don't think so. So the point is that I think that the player drop from Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm was in part because of the difficulty of the game. And I think at that point, the game became too difficult for average players. How do I know that? I have a personal experience. My mom played Wrath. By the time Cataclysm came out, she's... number two is this. I do not think that it is a coincidence that Classic Hardcore popped off at the exact same time that Ulduar came out. I don't know. I just think it's just very interesting how that happened. The truth is that, and also look at Sepulchre too, right? Sepulchre was insanely hard, and people didn't do it, and they hated it. I think that, like, in terms of rating, I think that Quick is, like, you know, Mike Ibarra, president of Blizzard. By the way, guys, I want to say one thing. Everybody that's going out, like, you can defend me, say whatever you want, but, like, I don't take this personally. Bro, like, I don't care. I'm not getting my fucking feelings hurt about this. I talk shit about the game all the time.
He does, actually.
What the fuck? I don't care. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt over this. It's just an opinion. Yeah, who gives a fuck? I'm not mad about this. But anyway, I just want to make sure you guys, you don't have to go out and defend my honor. You know, but I do think that I'm right. And I think that every bit of observable evidence that exists proves that I'm right. It proves this correlation. I do. I think that every single bit of evidence proves this correlation.
Yeah, something that Asmon always kind of says is that stats prove the facts. So basically, he's provided stats before and facts that can't be debated. And so whatever this president says is like, if he doesn't have the stats to back up his statements, then he's just talking out his ass. So it's not like Asmon goes into a lot of his critiques like blinded. Like sometimes he gets surprised by stuff. People say, hey, this is actually really bad. It's not doing very well. And he's like, nah, it can't be. And then he looks at the stats, he's like, holy shit, it really isn't. So, you know, Asmon will approach things as long as there's like stats and stuff like that to back it up. If it's an opinion, he'll just give an opinion, but a lot of times he will do the research and find the numbers.
Correlation. And if somebody has evidence that disproves it, please present it. I would like to see it. This raid tier is pretty easy, though. What, compared to the previous retail raid tiers? That doesn't really make a good comparison, does it? So anyway, the point is that you sound like Trump. Oh, Trump would never talk about evidence. I get that you don't care, but pretty low tier dev shit to be trash talking major streamer. Never mind, it's the CEO. They're not trash talking. I trash talk the game all the time. I said the game's for furries and femboys constantly. You think they can't say that I'm bad at the game? Get the fuck out of here. It's totally fine. I'm not gonna cry about this. What's wrong? No, it's totally fine. It's not a big deal. Like, I have a positive. Like, I like Mike Ibarra. It's not like I hate the dude and it's like some kind of like a big thing. It sounds like Max. I like Max. So I don't take it personally in the same way because it's from somebody that I know. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Anyway, so the thing is that I'll go back to why I quit raiding. I quit raiding for two reasons. Number one, my stream. That was the main reason why I stopped raiding. It had nothing to do with the raid. I would have sat there and fucking wiped day after day, week after week, and it would have been no big deal. But I quit for my stream because I could see that my stream, like, I was streaming for 4 hours, the raid every 4 hours. And at that point, I was the guild master and I had kind of had that role put on me. And I had like kind of found a way to disperse that responsibility. But at the same time, I still had to do like officer meeting after stream. And I had to mute like the stream and I had to mute my own voice. And it was just a really bad stream experience, and people didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't know about all the details with some of that behind the scenes stuff, but like personally, that was some of my favorite content when Asmon does the rating. It really is, because like you literally could get like 6 to 8 hours worth of content from him rating. Just put it on your TV in the background. Like I have like the Roku app and all that, and I just have YouTube on there, and I'll play it. And sometimes if I'm winding down for the night, I'll stick it on and just watch it until I fall asleep. But his content regarding rating is quite hilarious between him and McConnell a lot of times. And I remember kind of just laughing to myself when he was gathering up his troops, and one of them, and it just started like they just created a new guild, all that good shit. And he had all the members in the guild like lined up. He's like, everybody line up. And you know, they're all just doing it. And he starts going on this diatribe about like he's giving a speech and what they were going to do and how they were going to get the raid done. And you know, I thought that was clever. I thought that was fun, and I thought he did a good job with that. And I oftentimes will bust his balls just to myself or talking to Neko or whoever about it. And you know, when they finally beat a boss, you know, they got the drops that come, and they're all like rolling for it and whatnot. And Aston's like, that's mine, it's got to be mine. McConnell's like, that's mine too, man. And I'm like, dude, McConnell, just take a chill, dude. Like you ain't the man. He the man. You ain't the man. You just sit there. You below him. He's the man. So it's fun watching this shit, like just the stuff that goes on, the banter. And then of course when there's always like some weak links, and Asmon has to stop and say, all right, before we go in again, I want to review, and we're gonna find out what the problem is, and you guys are explaining to me what the fuck you were thinking. And so then, of course, you know, they have the best answer you could ever give Asmon if you fuck up in a raid is, it's my fault. I won't do it again. I guarantee you, you say that, he'll let you off the hook. If you start giving him 50 fucking answers and excuses, he's gonna be like, dude, no, don't stand in that shit. That will kill you. We discussed this. Don't stand in that shit. You be over there. And that's the fun shit, though. That's the funny kind of like banter that's going on in there. And some guys who raid with him, they get butthurt and they either get kicked out of there or they leave. And I'm like, but that's how it goes, man. Like if you can't hang with this dude because he can play, like no matter what this president says, even if Asmon doesn't beat a raid, let's keep in mind, all right, the raid, unless you're doing it like me, where you're going back several years down the road to solo that shit, raids take like 24 other people to do, or 9, depending on the size of it. But it's not just one person, so you're relying on everyone to do their part in a raid to succeed. So recently in classic hardcore, there was a group who did the Ragnaros raid. And you have to understand, in hardcore, you die. It doesn't matter. Like sometimes you can get wiped out 3 or 4 times in a raid and keep going. Not in hardcore. You die in hardcore, you're done. You're out. You're zipped. So to take on a raid where you rely on other people in the raid to do their job and stay up and stay healthy, it's tough. It's one thing if you're just doing it yourself, doing quests and shit. But they succeeded in defeating Ragnaros. That was a huge achievement. That was really great stuff. I forget who was streaming it, but it was great shit. Really impressive. Maybe Asmon did. I can't remember. But so this Blizzard president trying to bust on Asmon's balls about maybe not finishing the raid, it isn't Asmon's fault. Because Asmon's usually the last man standing in a fucking raid anyway, unless something goes totally off wrong. You know, and usually Asmon's like, yep, you know, I fucked up. I did something wrong. It was my fault. But a lot of the people that raid with him, if they're not good enough, they just die out. There's some that are very good. They keep raiding with him every time he does it. But to try to call out Asmon on this is kind of weak because it's collective achievement you have to make with different people and depending on their skill set. Like I would never go and try to raid with Asmon ever. Doesn't matter if I want to use my mage, doesn't matter if I want to use my hunter. I wouldn't do it because I'd suck at it. Because we go back to the other guy's video about the flashiness and the colors. You know, when you're fucking playing in raids and dungeons, dude, there's a lot of shit going on. But I don't consider that so much as a detriment. Like, I'm not going to say, well, it's too hard if I end up dying. I just know that as when it comes to like teamwork on stuff, I'm not the best. Like I'm never a professional player at WoW. I just enjoy the game. For me, it's more about going out and getting pets, you know, taming, just getting mounts that I know I can get on my own, stuff like that. So I would never play with Asmon because I'd immediately be killed within seconds, and he'd be like, "Dude, are you wasting my fucking time?" And I'd be like, "Yes, sir, I am. I just wanted to be here to say I fucking did it," you know. But yeah, but it's not Asmon's fault that, you know, if a raid doesn't succeed. Like, there's just a lot that goes into it. Now, he might think it's still too hard to get it done, but the reality is people get it done all the time. It's just luck and the people you have working with you to get it done, etc.
So I stopped raiding primarily because of my stream. I thought that it wasn't good stream content. I thought that it was, damaging for my stream. My viewers were bored. And it was annoying to play. Like, it wasn't like super fun. Like, Mythic Tomb of Sargeras definitely made it easier. But the truth is that if I wasn't streaming, I probably still would have raided. Would I have stopped since then? I don't know. It's like 7 years ago. What could have happened in 7 years, right? I don't know. So that's the real reason why I quit. And the reason why I don't raid now is the same reason. It's because I don't really have a lot of time to raid. And it's not even that I don't have time. It's that I don't want to invest that time into something that I feel like isn't fulfilling and it's not rewarding. Now, why do I feel like raiding isn't rewarding? The reason why is because every raid tier that comes out, all of my gear that I work towards gets invalidated completely. And then new gear comes out that's easy to get, that's better than my old gear that I worked really hard for. So
Well, but Asmon, that's pretty much every expansion ever comes out. I mean, I think the best time that I ever had with gear was Mist of Pandaria. And the reason for that was the Timeless Isle. Now, they started doing something similar with the Caverns and Dragonflight, but it's not quite there. Mist and Pandaria, like, you could take your main character and you can start running around, killing things and killing the big bosses and stuff over there. And it would drop gear that you would have to click on to open it up. But it would drop gear for other characters. That was the greatest fucking thing, dude. So some of my alts that I wasn't really playing, I could literally just set them aside. God damn, I keep hitting this. Set them aside and send it to my mailbox, into my my personal bank and whatnot, and save them for these characters. Now, I never got around to those other characters really, so it became outdated. And that's the thing. The minute the next expansion came out, none of that was good. And the thing I liked about it was epic. It was the purple gear. It's hard to get purple gear sometimes, unless you're doing dungeons and raiding, and those are two things that I don't do that often. So that was the thing that, at least with like Dragonflight, it mixes it in with different things. You can get like the main dragon that we're fighting right now in the middle of the fucking that rotates. I can't remember his name, but you know, if you get enough things there, keys and whatnot, you can get and open up to purple gear. You can also craft purple gear, which is nice too. But come the next expansion, all that shit will be worthless. Because then we're back to what? Green, then blue. And that's probably the one annoying thing about World of Warcraft that I don't like. The same thing with Diablo 4, just about every fucking RPG that's out there. I just don't understand the logic behind it. So, and let me explain this. So, if in World of Warcraft I get this bow, let's say I went back, I don't know, to, I think it's called the Sun Fury. And you get that bow, right? And if you were able to level that with your character, that would be amazing. So even for someone like me who ends up going back to old raids and dungeons after I'm high enough to complete them on my own, if I could still go back and like get that gear and then somehow just kind of go and start leveling up very quickly in like a higher tiered zone to where I wanted it, that would be amazing. And then if I wanted to take that same bow into the next expansion and keep leveling it, that would be amazing. And that's where I think that these games missed the mark for me, because I know you try and make things fancy with different looks, and that's fine. You want another better bow? Great, we can get one, but I can always come back and get it. But I should be able to level that bow with my character. Or wand or axe or whatever. Like whatever character you want, you should be able to do that shit in World of Warcraft. You should be able to do it in Diablo 4, and you should be able to do it in fucking Path of Exile. You shouldn't have to have 20 fucking different bows. So whatever weapon you want to use, like you don't need to keep replacing one. It's just dumb. I know it comes with it's all part of it. I get it. And I'm used to RPGs for many years, so I know. But why it is they've never considered that is beyond me.
Like basically every four months or 5 months, 6 months, whenever it's a raid tier comes out or a season comes out, as they say now, all my progress gets reset. And like then I have to do the same thing over again in order to get a recolor of like a seasonal keystone mount or something like that. Now, to be fair, the gladiator mounts are great, and I really like the new gladiator mounts. They're awesome, but I mean, nobody even cares enough to do it. That's why the ladder is like dead. So that's kind of one of the other big reasons. Is I feel like, for example, I felt like there was a compelling reason for me to want to raid BWL, or a compelling reason for me to want to raid AQ40, because Nax was going to come out. And fuck, there was a compelling reason for me to raid Nax because tier 3 was good in Karazhan. But why would I go and raid, what's the new raid? The fucking Vault of the Incarnates, or no, I think that's the last one, whatever it is, Aberrus. Why would I go and raid Aberrus whenever the next expansion or next patch is going to come out and make Aberrus irrelevant? Why would I waste my time doing that? So that's the main reason why I don't raid. It's because I feel like you're building a castle on sand that erodes every 6 months, and there's no lasting progression to it. I also don't raid because I don't find it fun. Now, why is raiding not fun? Well, let's talk about it. Why is raiding in WoW not fun for me? Runbacks, needing a warlock to summon. Buffs, rebuffs, too much trash. So these right here are structural problems that I have with raiding. And all of this kind of falls under the same kind of the same umbrella as too much downtime. There is too much downtime in raiding. Like if you go and you watch a raid and like, you know, if you have like a super organized, you're proving his point. Well, how though? Like, because I also like, if somebody thinks that I'm wrong about any of this, please, I'd like to hear why. I agree with too much trash. It serves no purpose. Yeah, it's just too much. It's annoying. Yukuri didn't play Ragnarok or Lineage 2 if you're complaining about needing specific classes. Well, you're right. I didn't. That's because I thought those games were bad. So if there's an element of that game that's in a game that I like, I would also think it's bad. Nobody plays Lineage or Ragnarok now. They're dead games. Nobody cares about them. So I don't want to have that happen to WoW. That's my point. So anyway, getting back to this.
Like I said, Asmon is addicted to WoW, so he'll sit there and he'll gripe about it, but he is still a fan. He wants it to succeed. So you can see he's getting pushback on his comments here, but the reality is he's telling you what would kind of improve the game time experience for raiding. And these things happen even if you're just running dungeons. Like if you die, you got to run all the way back. And it is a lot of time consuming. Now, the elitists out there, the gaming elitists would be like, it's part of the game, dude. You got to just live in the moment. But no, you don't really have to live in a moment to get back to where you died. Like, that's stupid. Just dumb. The trash part doesn't bother me because you can sell that shit. I guess the only alternative is you don't want to pick up a bunch of trash because your bags only have so much space as there is. So that's part of it too. Unless, and I don't know if you can do it or not. I haven't really tested it. I know you can do it on outside dungeons. I'm not sure about inside it because, like, you have this yak that you can get, this yak mount that has the auction, or not auctioneer, the banker, as well as like an armor, so you could sell shit. So that would be, if you can like mount it within a dungeon after you picked up a bunch of trash and to sell that shit off real quick, that'd be possible. That'd be a good thing. I don't think it's possible right now because I don't think you can mount anything inside dungeons. Buffs and rebuffs, that could be a problem, but you know, I'm less worried about that because really the idea is you need to stay alive. So if you end up dying, you're just going to have to do it. And of course you might run out of the buffs and stuff. So that could be a problem. Warlock, I'm not sure what his answer to that would be, except for maybe for each boss that you perform or fight against in a raid or a dungeon, that you just have like a save point. And you can just kind of, once you get back into a dungeon or, you know, resurrect, you can just automatically teleport to where you were. So that would actually save the runbacks, stuff like that.
Visibility, and these are also like, so these are like just structural problems that exist in the raid no matter what you do, right? So it doesn't matter like how good of a raid team you are, you still need a warlock if you want to summon somebody. It doesn't matter how good of a raid team you are, you still have to do the rebuffs. It doesn't matter how good of a raid team you are, you still have to do the trash. It doesn't matter how good of a raid team you are, you still have to run back. And I mean, unless like obviously you have like res protection, but like why does the res protection meta exist? Why is this meta game? Why is it still in the game? It's a waste of time. You also need a bunch of add-ons. Yeah. And so, yeah, eating food. Yes, having to eat food every single attempt. There needs to be a consequence for wiping. There is. You wiped. Like, there's not a... like.
You died.
I just, like... I find comments like that to be so brain dead because, like, for example, the Omega Protocol, or whatever the fuck it is in Final Fantasy, is probably harder than Mythic Sarkareth. Like, it's the new ultimate raid in Final Fantasy. It's probably harder than Mythic Sarkareth. And there are no runbacks. You don't need warlocks. You don't need to rebuff. And there's no trash. So whenever...
Just to put this in perspective, right? So for those that never played World of Warcraft, if you are in a raid or a dungeon and you wipe, So let's say that Asmon and company got to like the third boss in a raid and they wiped. Well, you have to run back through the first two areas that you've already completed. You don't have to fight anything because usually those are all dead and gone. And usually if there's anything left, you can kind of avoid it by keeping your space. Now, let's say in Diablo 4, if you're playing that and you fought like, what is his name? Asvent, the Pestilent or something like that, one of the world bosses. So you're in an area where you're fighting a boss and you die right next to it. Well, you can resurrect, but you're resurrecting like maybe a few feet from it. So you're only like, if the creature's here and then you die, you're resurrecting like right about here within the same zone. Like, but imagine for a minute if you had to resurrect all the way to the nearest city and then run back. That's the equivalent of having to run back through a dungeon or a raid in WoW. If you were actually being teleported back to the nearest city, which could be, you have to get back on your horse, you have to run all the way back through mobs that are out there in the open world just to get back to the boss that may or may not be dead by the time you get to it because there's still people fighting it. And even if you were someone like everyone who wiped, you're on a timer with that boss in D4. So you have 15 minutes, I think, to take it down before you don't get shit for it, except for maybe some experience. Now, you're not on a timer with the boss in World of Warcraft, but the time consumed by running back and forth is a lot. And that's the comparison. That's the closest comparison I can make to how annoying and tedious that would be.
There's a fight that's harder than anything that exists in World of Warcraft in another game that doesn't have any of these problems. Would you say that the people that did the harder fight didn't earn it because they didn't have to run back and summon the people into a group with a warlock? Of course not. It's ridiculous. Well, you lost time. That's a punishment. Yes, exactly. It is. And so those are the reasons why I don't find raiding fun on a structural level. Now, this is on a personal level, okay? And why I don't raid. And also why it's not fun. I don't like feeling like I have to download a lot of add-ons. It's annoying. I don't want to do it. That's really.
The thing about the add-ons is there's a lot of cool shit that developers make outside of Blizzard for add-ons that I think is very cool and in a lot of ways helpful. And it's funny because Blizzard in some ways has copycatted some of that and made their own UIs and stuff like that, especially with Dragonflight. But I'm surprised that at this stage of development with World of Warcraft that the devs haven't like done more in that regard to make all the other developers that don't work for Blizzard irrelevant. Like, why wouldn't you take a lot of the stuff that people use and put them into the game anyway?
Really it. I don't want to do it. It's annoying. I think visibility in raids is garbage. It's hard to see things, and it's harder because of more people.
That is so true. And I find that in the open world too, whenever we're fighting like a boss out in the open world, there's so much fucking going on that you get lost in all of it. Like, you don't even know sometimes if you're the one being attacked or if it's attacking something next to you. Now, imagine this. Now, Diablo 4 is interesting. This is something I find interesting about Diablo 4. If you're a necromancer or a druid, and let's say you're gathering around a world boss or a legion event, if you notice another NPC, another person who is let's say like you're a barbarian, you see a necromancer show up, you see like ghostly figures of their minions. You don't see them in full-fledged, like they just are transparent. Same with the wolves for the druid. I don't know how Blizzard would do it with World of Warcraft, but if you were gathering in a raid and you started your raid against a creature, right? Like at first, before you all gather, everyone's in full color, not transparent or anything. But let's say you start fighting this creature. Well, then, if everyone all of a sudden outside of yourself as the player went transparent so that you can see a little bit more what's going on, that might be a helpful thing. So each person can see themselves clearly, but the rest of the party would be more transparent so that while you're fighting something, you've got all this shit going on around you, like all these explosions and lasers and all this other stuff, that maybe having the rest of the party transparent while fighting would be beneficial. Even for Diablo 4 and world bosses and Legion events, that'd be kind of helpful because you still get lost in all that shit. Now, obviously, if I'm running up behind or underneath the world boss, my character kind of turns green so I can see where it is. But there's still a lot of shit going on with the other people that are around me. So it is very difficult to see everything that's going on in World of Warcraft when it comes to like mass gatherings. Like it's chaos. And sometimes you lose target.
Add-ons is because of the community, though, not because of WoW. Well, WoW allows the add-ons, right? And so, like, it is because of WoW. And also, like, these are also... I'm not blaming, like, the developers. I'm not saying the developers... Actually, I mean, with the visibility, I do blame the developers. I think that, like, for example, Kel'Thuzad in Sanctum of Domination, like, you shouldn't have white swirlies under a white-blue background. Like, it's just bad. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. So... the mechanic they use over and over again. No, I think that's fine. Raid designers say that they design bosses with add-ons in mind. Well, of course they do. Also, yeah. Let's see. Hard to recover from mistakes. One mistake equals white. Stuff like that I don't really find very fun. I don't know if the new raid has a lot of this or not. I don't know. But, you know, I'd have to play it and find out. I think there was like one thing with that with Sarkareth. I don't remember. Not really. You can recover from Sarkareth Mythic a lot. Nelth is one mistake, one wipe type of boss. Well, you also have to keep in mind that, like, the guilds that can recover from mistakes like that are probably guilds that have already killed the boss. But I don't know. I'd have to look and see for it myself. But I think that's generally the case. Oh, yeah, Mythic raid lockouts. This is also a structural problem. Mythic raid lockouts are stupid and vestigial. They are an old system that used to make sense 10 years ago, and now they do not. They have no purpose. They have no value. They add nothing to the game. And all they do is serve to make things more complicated, to make it harder for people to play together. Oh, also another thing, no X Realm Mythic raiding on day one. So yeah, I'd want to raid on day one on Mythic. Why can't I do that? Like, please give me one good reason why you shouldn't be able to Mythic raid on day one of the raid. There's no reason. Because world first, who cares? This raid tier had day one Mythic. If this raid tier had day one Mythic, then this is what Max is saying, right? And there are some things that I'm a little bit out of touch with, and I haven't played the game a lot recently. So, like, maybe they did fix this. So, like, this definitely is... we didn't have Cross-Realm day one. It took 2 months. Well, then why would somebody say that we did? What?
Yeah.
We did. Why would somebody say that? I feel like all this was in the game before. When you loved it, what changed? I had less of a value of my time. I placed less of a value on my time. Like, I didn't mind doing this because I had nothing better to do.
Yeah, I think that and this is just a guess and theory of my own. I discovered Asmon when he was covering the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. Like, you know, occasionally Asmon will talk about different things on YouTube, different video clips or whatever topics outside of gaming sometimes. And I think that's what sort of happens with a lot of these streamers now, is that despite the gaming part being your main focus, you start to branch out and do other things that you find interesting. It keeps not only yourself interested in doing the work, but your fans and your followers are constantly shooting you videos for you to check out and say, look, you know, I think you need to look this, check this out, whatever. So dedicating 8 hours a day to raiding, whether you succeed or not, is a lot of time. And so, like, if you start to branch out more into other games, like, you know, I know Asmon likes to play a lot of other games too, your interests are just kind of going beyond that. So if you're going to do rating, you're going to want it to be simplified to a point that you get in, spend a couple hours. If you succeed, not, then you come back another day and try it again. But some of the things he's pointing out makes it difficult to do that. And especially with the time that you have to do to get back to the point that you were. The farther along you are in a raid, the farther it is to run back there. And it's just, you know, it's a pain in the ass. And that's what he's kind of getting at.
But now I do have things that are better to do, and I don't want to do that. It's that simple. There's so many other options. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that what they meant was that there were a mythic raid that came out on day one, but not cross realm. I understand now. You also raided in Final Fantasy 14? Yes. These are the main reasons why I don't like raiding, though. Like, just structural reasons.
I'll have to go look and see how you did in
fun to play.
Final Fantasy 16
like,
raid.
Whenever I do a raid, every time that we wipe, I'm always thinking about how much time I'm wasting waiting to pull again. And the reason why I have that dichotomy in my mind is because I played Final Fantasy and Lost Ark. And Lost Ark and Final Fantasy don't have systems like that waste your time, and World of Warcraft does. Would you honestly raid, though, if these things changed? I would probably do it more. I think that the real reason why I don't raid, personally, is because there's no reason to, because my gear gets reset all the time. Like, I don't feel like I need to catch up and stay, like, on pace with everybody else, because I just know everybody's going to get reset in, like, 6 months, and it doesn't matter. I think the main problem is number of players and guild recruitment. Oh, yeah, yeah. Now, if it was up to me, I would want to make raids either, like, make Mythic, like, 10-man, or make raids 40-man again and make them a lot easier. Now, why is that? Well, it's because I think it's pretty cool whenever you get 40 people together, and it looks cool having, like, a big group of people doing a raid. That's the reason. That's literally it. I think it's cool, like, whenever you do.
Yeah, but then you're still dealing with the problem of can't see shit. So he kind of contradicts himself there, you know, and you have too many people on screen, too many people going at it. Even though my computer I have now is far better than I've ever had in my entire life as far as gaming is concerned. When I had the old gaming computer, dude, getting into a group of people, man, I was getting so much lag. And having like 40 fucking people, dude, like, that's a bear, dude. Like, I like his 10-man idea a lot better than the other one, but at the same time, like, if you can get into a 40-man and just wipe the fucking floor with the fucking raid boss, great. But then who's really going to want to do that when it's that easy. Like again, we're coming back to the easy versus challenge mode.
Do like classic WoW and like there's everybody there and it's like an actual fucking, you know, raid of people rather than just like a group. Yeah, it's just and like I don't know, like there's not like organize that shit. Yeah, but like it would be easier to organize if you didn't have to hyper vet every single person through 17 different add-ons and 5 different levels of experience, because there's like 7 different fucking debuffs that you can get in the raid that will wipe the whole raid if you don't know what to do with them. So I actually think that the reason, so the harder, and this is very, very simple logic, right? Is that the harder that you punish players, the harder players will try to not be punished. What does that mean in terms of raiding? It means that because the raids are extremely punishing, players are even more gatekeepy than they would be naturally, because they don't want to get killed by somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. This is what's happened with Lost Ark too. Difficulty does not make a game fun, it makes it unfun. Difficulty and fun are 2 different spectrums. Like,
Yep.
A game can be very difficult and it can be very fun, and a game can be very easy and it can be very fun. It's really, I mean, it's really common sense.
Mm-hmm.
The harder the game punishes failure, the harder players punish each other, leading to toxicity. Yeah, and also the harder players try to proactively not be punished for that failure by avoiding certain cases of that happening. So, but can't you dynamically choose to play with 10 players on the highest raid difficulty? No, you can't. And also, here's another thing, right? Is that I do think that mythic raids are too hard now. I do. I think they're too hard. And I can do them. Of course I can do them. Sure. But I'm not an average player. Like, I played the game for 15 years.
Yeah.
Or more than that now. I played the game for fucking 18 years. You guys can cap it all. I mean, it's not like it takes like some sort of like divine level of skill, right?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I've been playing since 2007, like I said. Asmon has a better grasp of how shit works, mechanics work in World of Warcraft than I do. I really couldn't sit there and explain to you the mechanics of how it works, or any game for that matter. Like, I'm not knowledgeable in that. And that's why I say when I'm a casual player, that's what I am. Like, I don't study games. I don't fucking read books on them. Like, you know, I obviously I can learn by listening and watching people like him, or, you know, other streamers and whatnot. But Asmon has a great grasp of the understanding of how the mechanics work, how they work when you're fighting bosses and other creatures in the world. And that's something I don't have. Like, I couldn't tell you what certain things do, or how it affects this or that, or what order they should be in. I'm basically what you would call a button masher. Like, sure, Mortal Kombat, I can go in there and try to do the combo moves, but it is very difficult for me to stay focused on that, and then not without like just trying to go back and start punching and fighting, button mashing, right? So, in a sense, yeah, it's not difficult, like Asmon says, but at the same time, is if you don't really have a clear understanding of how everything works in the World of Warcraft game, mechanics wise. So like if I took my mage into a raid with him, I couldn't tell you when to do this or do that. Like, I would be attacking and basically doing ice armor on myself, right? I would, of course, hit my intelligence glyph to get everybody's intelligence up and do all that. I forget what it's called. It's like a time thing. It's like an hourglass. You can hit that, and the entire party will kind of enlarge, and then they get overpowered, and for a short time they can do some serious damage. But That's like me saying, well, Asmon, when do I pop this? Like, you know, because you often hear him say that, like, I'm, you know, pop this, this, and this at this point. Sometimes he's fighting with in a raid with like 2 or 3 other tanks because they have to alternate while the other one heals up or whatever. So, by some theory, it's not hard. I mean, I've obviously had enough success at World of Warcraft to succeed where I am, but I am by no means a professional gamer. Like, I don't play player versus player. I'd get my ass kicked daily. I've tried in the past. Not very good. So, yeah, it's not technically hard, but, you know, you do have to have some clear understanding of how some of the mechanics work. And if you're not someone who's really in the know of that, then it can be a little difficult.
To be able to just hit your buttons on a rotation and listen to the add-on callouts? Like, there's a lot of people that Mythic raid.
I don't have add-on calls, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, but why? Why would you do that? I don't want to. You can't do heroic properly? Well, why would I care? Why would I care to do heroic properly? What is my motivation to raid heroic and to do it? Because in my opinion, Mythic raiding is the only thing that's worthwhile. Because heroic raiding is more work for less reward. Because you're going to get worse gear than Mythic 20s. And that's why. I mean, actually, I was going to say why. That's why. So, like, Mythic Plus is easy.
And that's it right there. Like, so I'll probably end the video soon because there's not much more going on with this. But the way that Asmon laid that out, this is the difference between Asmon and the regular casual player of World of Warcraft. Asmon gets a new expansion, you know, Dragonflight. His main goal is Mythic raiding. One track mind. He's not gonna build his way up. He's gonna go get his character where it needs to be, get his groups together. They're gonna go through Mythic raiding, get the best gear possible to stack themselves and try to finish it that way. If there's like some sort of mount that he needs or whatever, they'll try to do all that, but he's not worried about building himself up slowly. So he won't go through heroics and get like the mid-tier gear and then go from there to the mythic. He shoots for the stars right away. And that's the difference between him and a lot of other players. That's probably what he's missing about some of this. Because like for guys like me, it's going to be about, if I was going to do it that way, it's about doing it through the building process. And I'd be going through heroic, be getting my shit like that, getting my gear that's improvement over what I have to start the game. And then if I felt like going through mythic and trying to do above that, that's what I would do. And so that's really the difference there with all that. So hope you enjoyed this video. Just kind of did it off the cuff. Wanted to talk about a couple things. See, today's Wednesday. Friday, I have an interview with Lou Yardley, who we've known very well. She's actually one of the founders of Metals Heaven Radio, the forum, before I asked him to take the name and use it for my radio and website. But she is an author, and she writes horror novels, and she's very good at it. So Neko and I will be talking to her and catching up with her, what she's doing. Very good, very talented young lady. So be looking for that on Friday. Coming up, I think we've got another classic reflection soon. I'm going to try to set up some more interviews, maybe with Media Glitch. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, so, you know, if you liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you don't mind subscribing, I'm going to put the links to some of these guys into the chat, even if I didn't talk to them too much. I think you should check them out, so I'll put their links in there as well. Tonky Gaming, be sure to go check out the dude's site. Give him some love. Didn't want to try to use him as like a poster child for my grievances with Path of Exile, but just wanted to show some of the stuff that I thought was kind of overblown with Path of Exile, and some of the stuff that gets kind of compared to Diablo 4, but is about the same in terms of like the problem. So Hope you enjoyed the video. Got any comments, man? Let me know. I don't care if you want to blast me. Just be civil about it a little bit. You know, you want to give me a hard time, that's okay. Just be a little bit civil about it. I don't want to have to like kick people off for being just total dipshits. You know what I mean? So just be civil about it. And yeah, please support the channel. And thanks, man. That's all I can say. Thank you very much for taking the time out, and have yourselves a great rest of the week. Keep it metal, man.